All right, ladies, we are back for part 2 of our Drive to Survive Season 7 recap. Part 1 ran a little long. We might have
We
been
had a lot to
approaching the
say.
2-hour mark. And we really liked the second half of this, so hopefully we don't hit the 2-hour mark. We're going to try and keep it snappy and brief this time, but that probably won't happen. I am your podcast host, Afsa.
I am Felicia.
I'm Bex.
And guys, how did you feel about Drive to Survive episodes 6 through 10?
I like it better than the first half.
I'll say better.
Episode 1 I think might be my favorite.
No,
Which one?
I actually like them both equally. I think there's like one episode out of each half you could say that I didn't really love.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, I just think I really like the season hands down, top to bottom. Like there were very few skips.
Mm-hmm.
So
I
think for me it was pretty equal.
Science episode.
Listen,
I skipped the Charles Leclerc episode. Well, skipped is not the right word. I just kind of like hit that 1.5 speed and did some background stuff while I was watching.
Wow.
You
want to do Charles like that?
Listen, I love Charles, but if you've seen, we talked about this at the end of last episode.
Mm-hmm.
If you know a lot about Charles and you watched Monaco, episode 5 is kind of a snore.
It is a little bit. Can't lie.
But once again, for the intended audience of Drive to Survive, great episode.
Yes.
All right. We have episodes 6 through 10. I do agree with Felicia. I thought this was a banger second half.
Mm-hmm.
I did end up liking it more than the first half since only episodes 1 through 3 of the first half really hit for me.
Oh, wow.
But I figure we can talk about each episode, go through all of them. I have a favorite episode. That's for damn sure.
Of course you do. Of course you do.
But first up, we've got episode 6, Wheels of Fortune. This is our McLaren team episode about the Constructors' Championship. And really, they didn't want to call it Papaya Rules because I thought they knew that I'm sure McLaren went, don't do that to us, please. But this is the Papaya Rules episode.
Mm-hmm.
This is all about the interpersonal, social, political dynamics in McLaren. And as much as this episode is actually the one that made me really go like, okay, I actually don't enjoy Lando's confessionals, not because he's doing anything wrong, but just because like I don't care.
Lando's not particularly interesting.
But this episode was really good. I have to say, my standout scene was the one with him and Max Futrell after Hungary, where
Which
he's
one was
like
that one? Say it again.
The scene with him and Max Futrell after Hungary, where they're like Lando has a kind of like a wet hair look going on, and he's talking to his friend who's sitting on the couch, and he basically like admits that like, yeah, obviously like this, like I kind of ruined Oscar's first win.
I will say, I was like, at least you can acknowledge that because he really did fuck up Oscar's first win.
To be honest, to me, it felt like he was just trying to clean it up and save face.
Felt like Max Futrell was paid by the producers to interview Lando outside of the confessional.
That thing was definitely set up.
But it definitely felt like, I don't really know like how much of that actually was like self-reflection or how much that was
they wanted it to look like he was reflecting, having him look out the window all forlorn and whatnot.
Okay, I do have to say, like, I'm personally not on team Lando Norris is hot. Like, I don't.
He's not.
Find him particular. He's not my type. I do have to say, Lando looks best when he has his wet hair look going on. So shout out to Lando.
You mean when his hair is absolutely filthy because he just got out of the car and it's full of sweat?
Well, yes, but also I think I think in the scene that I'm talking about, he had just applied some hair gel. Is what actually happened. He had just done his curly hair routine.
Okay, wow. Well, we're not going to talk about that.
Anyway, but I think that is, I think that's the good scene from that one. I gotta say, like, I don't know, man. something about watching a McLaren episode really was just like a lot for me.
To be honest, for me, this episode, I kept on saying, where's the team principal? Why is Zach Brown always in my face talking? I'm like, where is your job? Because I don't think
it's Andrea Stella.
I'm like, this is who I'm supposed to be hearing from.
Once or twice during this episode.
This is who I'm supposed to be hearing when it comes to all these issues that we're having with Lando and Oscar.
Zach Brown is front and center.
Why is Zach Brown sitting here telling, like, and then you see, like, you'll have, like, the race. I forgot which race was it that he didn't show up to.
Oh, was it Monaco? No, Monza?
No.
Monza. Was it Monza?
I don't know. So you keep repeating it. I'm drawing a blank. I'm sorry. I'm actually really drawing a blank. But it was a race that he couldn't be. And that was like the race where they had actually established, I guess you could say, the papaya rules, if you want, where Lando was to be given preference, deference, whatever you want to call it. And then he ended up shit in the bed in quali. and then he had to play.
That was Baku.
Okay. I am actually, time out. I'm actually quite surprised at how well you know these races.
I wrote it down.
It's actually quite surprising. So,
wait,
good for you.
Can you see my notes?
Oh, you have notes. Okay, great.
I love that. I will say, not to derail from what you're saying, I personally thought that for once, Christian Horner really earned his background extra pay in this episode between him being like, Max never would have switched over. After Lando came back the spot. And also
Max never would have done that.
And also being one of the only team principals to when they asked him, like, oh, so if you had to pick who you'd give preference to, Oscar or Lando, who would you pick? Oscar. Love this. Like, once again, the only good thing about Christian Horner is that he is a messy bitch who lives for drama. And so he was like, what is the soundbite clip that's going to get my clip replayed and replayed and replayed on Twitter? Me automatically saying Oscar at the end of this question. And I do have to, I'll give him his flowers for being a messy bitch.
He didn't even hesitate. That's the thing. There was no hesitation.
Super open that, like, given the option at this point, he would have taken Oscar.
He would have taken Oscar.
Well, because he also spent so many years, like, coveting Lando, that then he was like, wait a second.
Yep.
I can get Lando without having to be Lando?
Yep.
There we go.
Mm-hmm.
Quick question. Who would y'all have, same question that they asked.
Oscar or Lando?
No. Yeah.
Oh.
I have the
Oscar.
I have the exact... No, this isn't about how I feel about Lando, right?
Oh, okay.
No. Time out. Let me give preference. Let me give some qualification.
Yes.
I would say, at that time, who would you have given preference to?
Oh, based on where they were in the season?
Yeah. That's what I thought the question was on.
So here's my personal point of view on the whole papaya rules thing.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Which is, the decision is purely based off how much you realistically think Lando actually will win the championship.
Yes.
Okay.
If you think that your decisions will be make or break on whether he wins the championship, you have to pick Lando.
Yes.
I don't pick Lando because at that point, we saw what it would have taken for him to win the championship, which was a flawless performance.
Yes.
And you as McLaren can value Lando as a fantastic driver and also acknowledge that Lando simply does not give flawless performances.
No.
Every single race. So the likelihood that he will execute on what needs to happen to get the championship win, it's not going to happen. Like, he can be a fantastic driver, but he needs to be more than a fantastic driver. He needs to absolutely dominate at a level that he has never been able to consistently outpace Max before.
Yeah.
At that point in the season. So, if you are on my thing, which is you would have to perform better than I've ever seen you perform, and I'm not, like, dashing my future world championship hopeful on the chance that you outperform how you've ever performed, you pick Oscar. If you were on team, we can make enough upgrades to the car and do enough strategy work to make it so that Lando plus that, he'll be able to perform at this level, of course you pick Lando. I just don't think McLaren was ever going to get to that. I just don't think McLaren was ever going to get to the strategy and car level to where they would be able to consistently and guaranteedly dominate the way that they had to.
The thing is, the way Zach Brown talks, he thought that was a possibility, genuinely. No, he had far too much faith in Lando this season, I think. Maybe I'm wrong. What do I know?
I think he has faith in Lando, for sure.
Yeah.
I feel like he has too much.
I just think that it's like you have to rely on executing flawlessly consistently, and I don't think that that's enough to change your team's overall 4-year plan, right? Yeah. And their 4-year plan, to some extent, is to have Lando win a world championship, but also is to set up Oscar to do it and make sure that Oscar doesn't want to leave, evidenced by the multi-year contract they just gave him the other day.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. That's... We're gonna cut this.
I just feel that you don't dash your overarching plan for the percentage chance that things go exactly the way that you want them.
Yes.
And so you run the risk, and I think that depending on how they handle things this year, I actually think they really run the risk of doing this year, where you run the risk that Oscar goes, Max has a baby on the way. He'll probably be at Red Bull for another year or two. I can just go be Red Bull's top driver in a year or two. I need to stay here. Right?
I think he already did that with... Who was he with? Alpine? Yeah.
He was I'm going to be the number 2 driver at Alpine. Why would I do that? And so that's you have to look at long-term strategy, which is why I think you pick Oscar. But I'm not going to sit here and be so anti-Lando that I say there's no reason to pick Lando. There's a huge reason to pick Lando, which is if you genuinely believe you can win the Drivers' Championship. I just didn't think that. So at the time, I wouldn't have done it.
Well, clearly they shouldn't have.
Because I feel... I don't know. I felt like this was some... To be honest, this felt the back and forth that we had with McLaren during last season felt very amateur hour to me.
Yes.
I don't understand how a F1 team who's been doing this for how many years, who's won, and obviously different people, different staff, obviously, but this team, wasn't it the same team that it's not the same team, but same Formula One team that had all those issues with Lewis and Alonso all those years ago around similar issues where Lewis wanted to be the young upstart. Well, actually, I think it's a little bit different because Alonso had won 2 championships at that time.
But even then, I actually think this is a great example because McLaren had more of a reason back in the Fernando Alonso day to go, Lewis, pipe the fuck down. This is a 2-time world champion. Okay? We're going to favor him. And you know what McLaren did when they saw the rookie hand their 2-time champion his ass by almost 1 point, only having a gap in by 1 point? They went, well, it is what it is. Who's clearing strategies? Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that Oscar is eating Lando's lunch to that extent. I love Oscar. Oscar's not sitting here literally making Lando shaking his boots in the championship points, right? But I hate to...
I just feel like they shouldn't have focused all their energy on Lando like they did. I feel like they didn't count Oscar in.
Yeah, I hate to ever agree with Christian Horner, but I do agree that at some point, as a team principal, you start thinking, this is Oscar in his 2nd year.
Yep.
And he is doing almost as good as the guy who has spent his entire F1 career in our style of cars. you start to wonder, is this Lando's ceiling? Like, have you reached your ceiling by this point?
That's
or
really
will you continue to gain enough skill that, like, you will continue to outpace Oscar? Because some people do get better and better every year. This is Max's 10th season in F1, and he's gotten better every single year. There's plenty of possibility that Lando will continue to get better and better and better every single year. And you have to assess, looking at the data, do you actually think that's going to happen or not?
Well,
I can't make that.
I mean, this is what, Lando's 6th year, or this will be his 6th year.
He started in 2019.
Yeah, so this
so 6.
So this Drive to Survive season was his 5th year, and I believe that was what, Oscar's 2nd or 3rd year.
This is Oscar's 2nd. That was Oscar's 2nd.
So, I mean, it took Lando 5 years to get a win. Oscar had 2 wins in his 2nd year. I mean, especially when you start adding, and how many podiums has Oscar? And I mean, it's not just, podiums and wins that you can measure.
But I feel like Oscar is more consistent than Lando is.
I think I have to agree with you there. But I just feel like, I think I'd have to agree with you there. But I think what's going to come down to is, this 2025 season to see if McLaren has actually learned. Because, sure, you can just say, well, Lando was second in the Drivers' Championship. We're going to, put our focus into him. But if Oscar's outpacing him, is, beating, I just feel like they may have to reevaluate who their quote-unquote number one driver is. And it may not be Lando. And I just wonder what it's going to be like for McLaren. Because McLaren has put a lot of time, money, and effort into pushing Lando up.
Sure have.
And so, I just wonder what it's going to look like.
Also, I think that, we have to consider, the teams don't actually care about the driver championship. I feel like we spend a lot of time, and it's, a good marketing tactic, but they care about the constructor championship and the marketing that a driver championship can give them. Right? So,
there's one person, I think Christian Horner cares about
Max. Yes, Christian Horner knows that he has direct consequences to his business whether or not they win the drivers' championship, right?
Yes.
Because he knows that Max has clauses about, if you bitches are ever not top 3, and if I'm not eligible to be top 3, I can cut this contract whenever I want, right? So Christian cares about it a lot. But, for the rest of the teams, it's mostly, a pride, marketing, honor thing. And it's if I'm McLaren, as long as the two of you aren't taking points off of each other to the extent where it fucks with our constructor championship, if we're clear and far ahead of every other team, I'm not picking a number one.
And to be honest,
this year, I would 100% see them being if the other teams can't catch us and we're in the Constructors' Championship, I don't care. Fight for 1 and 2 every single week. Just don't crash.
And to be honest, that's what ended up happening, basically. Well, that's what almost ended up happening 2024. Well, they were taking points off each other, screwing each other up. That's how Ferrari was able to challenge them up until the end. Yeah. They really had a format for them to run away with the Drivers' Championship towards the latter end of the season.
I do have to also call out one more thing about this episode before we move on to my second favorite episode of the season 7, which is after Monza. Right? Well, it's while we're covering Monza, but the interview obviously occurs after Monza, where Oscar makes that move on Lando at the S's, at the little hairpin situation, the chicane. Lando has a confessional where he's like, if I had known he was going to try something like that, he would have never had
the opportunity.
I'm like, was this a really baller confessional clip? Yes. Lando, you did a little something with that confessional clip.
It was? I didn't think it.
I think he gave a fun little quip. Okay. I do think, though, if I had known he would do something like that, he never would have had the chance. You thought that young upstart teammate directly behind you who knows that you can't keep a first place pole position to save your fucking life wasn't gonna be up your ass. Everybody who starts P2 to you is trying to take that off your head because they know that it's plenty possible. They know that starts are the thing you're actually really bad at. So, like, they're all gonna try and take the start from you. Every single person.
2 things for that.
Every
same
single
time
person would take the start off of you because they know it's a thing. Right? Yep. Like, the same way that, like, a lot of times people, like, not that they don't try, but, like, they don't play with Max on these safety car restarts because they know that he's a fucking psychopath that he's bringing safety car restarts. And so it's like, I'm not gonna fucking burn out my tires and crash my car trying to play with Max Verstappen's weird-ass race starts. There's just no point in doing it.
So, because of that same thing, did anyone else see Fred Vasseur just cackle after what was it? I think it was after Oscar jumped Lando at that start. Oh, also, why is Zach Brown talking about some Oscar put Lando at risk and compromised our strategy? Tell Lando he needs to stick to his strategy and not get passed up before the first turn.
Like, I get that being passed the way that he does, like, obviously will rattle you a little bit, and it might set your, like, tire traction weird. You might not take the ideal line through the next section because you're not where you thought you would be. But, like, you can't blame one pass on ruining the entire race.
Exactly. He said he put Lando at risk. He ruined the strategy. I was like, sir.
I think your strategy just needs work. Like, you guys need strategy.
Mm-hmm. I just really love Fred Vasseur's, like, cackle. And that's all they did at that point. They literally just panned to him in a confessional, laughing like a lunatic, and then went back to, I think, Lando or Christian.
Yeah.
I said, damn. Anyway, go ahead.
Anything else on this episode, ladies?
No, good episode.
Lovely. All right.
I actually like the inner workings, seeing the inner workings, inner turmoil of the team.
Yeah, agreed. I like a team episode. All right. Next up, we have In the Heat of the Night, which is a behind-the-scenes experience of Singapore Grand Prix. Mm-hmm. Now, I have to say, 2 things that I thought were fantastic directorial choices.
Heard.
1. Giving them Netflix phones to film a ton of different stuff.
Because that.
I thought that was great. I thought it made it so that you didn't have to have a Netflix camera with them all the time. So, like, they felt a little bit more like they were doing their own thing. And 2, I think they made the fantastic decision. To have it be this crew of drivers. Now, obviously, everybody knows I'm not a Lando Norris girly. But I do think that this is a fantastic decision, narratively, choice-wise. 1, this is the group of drivers that if you hand them a phone to film themselves, they will actually just film themselves all day. Like, this group of people will film themselves all day. Which I thought was great. And also, like, what I thought was heartbreaking, but also very, very good, like, narrative-wise, is that these, like, friends are spread all over the track. And Alex has his piece about it that is, like, absolutely, like, horrifying, and I really hate it for him, where he's like, I used to beat all of these guys in karting. Like, I used to be on the top, getting podiums every single time, and, like, now I come here, and I have to accept that, like, I probably will never win again. I probably will never podium again. Like, I probably will just be okay for the rest of my life. And, like, it was sad. Come here to watch all of my friends that I used to be able to be, like, outpacing or even just, like, matching, and that'll never happen to me again.
He said he used to be the one that they looked up to, basically. Like, he was the one winning.
Yeah, now he's like, I don't have that anymore. And, like, I have to accept that I'll never have. Like, when you come... Because I think Lando mentioned it also. He's like, when you come into Formula 1, you have to accept that you might never win again. And, like, that sucks.
That's crazy. Also, Alex forgetting his age was hilarious to me. Go ahead.
This was actually one of my favorite episodes, if not my favorite episode. Mm-hmm. And funny enough, I actually think this, if I remember correctly, the Singapore Grand Prix was not that great of a race, which is crazy because I think it's actually one of my
favorite races.
It's one of the ones that I marked down on like a calendar to like watch, because Singapore Grand Prix always some drama. But I feel like this one wasn't as much drama as it has been in the past. Mm-hmm. But like it still made the way that it was shot, it still made the race interesting. Like I think this is an episode that Drive to Survive fans can like, but also like F1 fans can really get into. And I think we actually discussed this, I think when we were complaining about seasons 3 through 6, that like I like just focusing on a race. I loved just getting the aspects of like from practice to qualifying, see how things, it just made this, it was just a fantastic episode. Like take, for example, Silverstone. How many freaking times did we see Silverstone in this damn season?
Far too many. Your notes, you're about to complain about it next episode too.
But like, I appreciated, and I got to know, like, I actually got to see George's girlfriend for the first time. Like, actually hear from her. This episode, we got to see Charles and Pierre's relationship. That was really cute. And I think
I didn't know they were that close.
They're best friends, yeah.
I
did not know that.
I knew that.
Yeah.
Like, I see them all the time.
We found that back when Antoine died in season 2.
No, I knew they were, like, close, but I didn't know they were, like, that close. You know what I mean?
They're best friends.
I thought it was like, oh, we grew up together. Like,
during the off season, you'll always see those two together.
Oh,
somewhere
doing something, being buddies.
Yeah.
Now, what I thought was also really funny, and it goes back to like these little clips, and it's a clip that keeps floating around because I think it's so good. Is Charles and his girlfriend Alexandra
running in the street?
No, not even that. That was really funny. But it's when they're in the hotel or like the apartment or whatever, and he's like, "Oh, what are you having for breakfast?"
Oh,
she's like, chicken satay, and she's like, "Do you want some?" He's like, "I don't want that. Why would you have that for breakfast?" And it starts to cut her off, and she's like,
"She said it's
3 p.m." That gets me every time. It's looking at him and exactly going like,
like she was just so baffled that he's like, "Ugh," and she's like, "Bruh."
It's like if we went out to go like walk to a restaurant, we'd be getting early dinner. Not like
exactly. She was like, "Wait a minute, what?"
Yeah, I love seeing a little bit more of like their relationships outside of the track. George and his girlfriend. When George was like, "Oh, if y'all weren't here, she'd probably be naked or nude or something." I was like,
something stupid
George,
like that. I said, "Shut up,
that. Calm down."
George has always been one of those people where like he says small little comments about his relationship that we're like, George. Did we ask for this? Like when he got the underwear with his face all over, and he was like, or he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna give these to my girlfriend and watch her wear them." And I was like, "Oh, okay."
Ew.
We didn't do it. We didn't.
Or that time when he was like on the phone, and he was like, "I'm being romantic with my girlfriend."
Why do you feel compelled to tell us this? Like,
yes, but I do love Carmen. I do love Carmen, and so for that. I will give her flowers. Now, what I will say also about this episode, and this is not me giving any Lando hate.
It's always you giving Lando hate.
No, it's not.
But go ahead.
No, it's not. But if we recall, some people were very questionable about whether George and Lewis were overhyping how fucked up they felt after the Singapore Grand Prix. Being like, it wasn't actually that bad. Da, da, da. Well, now we got the footage, bitch. George, that man was having a panic attack. That's why he was like, "Oh, it was really bad." And then you're sitting there being like, "They're being over dramatic. It wasn't really that bad." What? Now we got the footage. And guess what? I'm sure that somebody will tell me, "Actually, he was talking about Qatar." I don't remember, and I don't care. This is why when your fellow drivers go, "Oh, I feel bad about this. I feel bad about that," you don't go, "You're not going to get this, you're not," because, bro, there's going to be footage that'll come out or something.
They will show you.
Like,
yeah, no, they were so effed up after Singapore.
Yo, all of them.
But that's like, that's how they always talk about, like, it's really bad. The
It's
humidity
the hardest
is
race.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, how bad is the humidity, really? But
when he said it was, I looked up because he said it was like 60 degrees, right? And I was like, oh, that's cool. And then I remembered they do Celsius, right? I looked that up.
It's like 100.
It's like 120 degrees or something crazy like that. I said, oh my God.
No, like, it's from my understanding, Singapore is really hot. Singapore's humid, kind of like down here in like Texas Gulf Coast area.
And all those men from Europe don't know how to deal with that.
No.
So I can't even imagine. But I love this episode. I don't have like a ton to say about it, but I really enjoyed like the formatting of the way they did it. I think it's a fun episode to watch. It's like it wasn't like a lot to take away from it. It was just like fun. A really well done episode, top to bottom. They had amazing like character of guys that they highlighted on. I even like
they were trying something different and it worked.
Yeah, and I think I think an episode like this, like, cause I've been hearing like a lot of the F1 fans being like, no serious F1 fan watches Drive to Survive.
They're so corny with that.
Like, all their grandstanding, I guess you could say. But this is, I was like I just said, I think this is an episode that even the most skeptic F1 fan could really get into on Drive to Survive.
Yeah.
Also, I loved seeing Alex get all that love that he got in Singapore.
Oh, yes, I love that.
I know, I really appreciated that. I thought that was really nice.
He's like, this is technically my home race. I said, oh.
I'm not gonna lie, I always am like, why don't they allow him to like count Silverstone as like a home race? But they say like because he technically he races under like the Thai flag.
He's Thailand.
That's why they don't consider it. That's why no one ever really will call Silverstone his home race.
His home race.
I mean, no, it's not the only reason. That's what they say on the technicality.
Oh yes, of course. All right, we can move on to episode 8, and I'm gonna be really real with y'all. I hate to be a Checo apologist. This episode is called Elbows Out, and it's all about people vying for Checo's seat.
Yep.
This episode pissed me the fuck off.
So bad.
I was so mad. I was so mad. And the reason I was mad is because we have Max Verstappen, right? The best of the young drivers, Max Verstappen, has already told us this car was absolute dog shit.
Yep.
And Checo was right about everything.
Yep.
We have a whole episode where it's like, Checo's just bad at his job, and so it's giving it to these people. And I'm like, are we fucking playing games here? Are we fucking playing games? So that was thing number one that pissed me off, is I'm like, Checo is good. Checo, was a plenty good driver. And so acting like Checo was just sitting around, putzing around, like, fucking things up is, like, not what occurred, right?
No.
Thing number two, maybe I just wasn't paying enough attention. That is plenty possible. I don't feel like they made me understand why, out of all of the people, I don't feel like they made me understand what the fuck happened with the Daniel Liam situation and how Liam ended up getting the Red Bull seat. Like, I feel like I walked into the episode and I felt exactly how I did during the season, where I was so sure that they were just fucking around and biding their time to give Daniel the seat. And then all of a sudden, Liam has the seat. And I'm like, if you're trying to replicate the feeling that I had during the season, bravo. I was really confused by their driver choices. However, I come to Drive to Survive sometimes for a little bit of extra understanding and behind-the-scenes information. And so I was like, surely they're going to let Christian Horner explain truly why Daniel had to leave and why Liam got the seat. And I didn't feel like I walked away understanding at all why Liam got the seat.
I have an idea. I think Daniel just was ready to be done. I don't think Daniel wanted to sign a new contract. Because the way they asked him, what did they ask him? I don't remember what the fuck they asked him. But he said, it's too vulnerable. I don't want to talk about it, this, that, and the third. And I'm like, you didn't want to race anymore. He looked too happy when he pulled up that Arrivederci sign. He looked too happy. That man didn't want to race anymore. He didn't want to race anymore. I don't think he did.
I think you're going a little too far.
That's my personal opinion.
I think he wanted to race because we're still getting reports even, today that
he was
Daniel's
at the
possibly
race.
going to race. And I mean, he's over there. Anyway.
He is there.
I don't know about that.
But he's Australian.
This episode had me frustrated on so many ends. One of my biggest frustrations is that they brought Daniel Ricciardo back because we made it through this whole entire season or up until this episode. I forgot about Daniel Ricciardo. Completely forgot about Daniel Ricciardo. And then he popped up on my screen. And I'm like, oh, yeah, he was driving this season. Completely forgot. I was actually enjoying a Drive to Survive season about Daniel Ricciardo and his stupid jokes and nonsense. Mm-hmm. Secondarily, I don't know. This episode made me not really have that good of a taste of Liam Lawson. I don't know why. I remember during the season liking Liam.
I'm so mad at Liam. I truly had a deep love for him before he was cutting up. And especially the way he's been cutting up in this pre-Australia press he's been doing.
Yeah.
I've been getting pissed.
I gotta look for that.
Same. And I was
he did the Visa and Red Bull teams did a collab where they were who would be the driver, the passenger princess, the navigator, the DJ? And every time Yuki would be I could be this position in the car, he'd be no, you're shit at that. Over and over and over again. I was bro, can we calm down? But
not
same thing, I'm I want to Liam so bad,
Same.
bro.
I wanted to,
him
I don't.
So bad. He's making it really hard for me.
Listen, I'm not a Checo fan per se. I'm not a Checo hater, but I'm not a Checo fan. I'm not gassed about Checo. But the way that Liam flipped off Checo
I remember that.
I thought that was such a dickhead move.
I remember that that during the season.
Mm-hmm.
It's so funny. I remember thinking, oh, it's not that bad. Looking back at it now, and I'm like, oh, no. Mm-hmm. That's such an asshole move to do that.
That is disrespectful.
But I don't, in the moment, when it happened, I don't think I was as offended. Which,
I barely paid attention when it happened.
Maybe it was just the emotions of the episode.
When he did it, there was other fucking occurring on the track.
There was so much going on.
Because I remember literally being and Liam was in the back fucking flipping off Checo or something. I don't fucking know what's going on.
Exactly.
We got other things to worry about. It was a mess.
Yeah, it was definitely something I remember us kind of touching on, but I don't ever remember it being and I don't know, maybe it might have been the emotions of the episode and feeling bad for Checo. Maybe that's why I sort of got a little bit disdain for
Liam.
What's that boy's name? Liam.
What's that boy's name?
I don't know if that played a part into it, but yeah, I was just a little bit when people, I always hate this thing, but I'm going to say it, but it's people say, act like you've been here.
Yep.
Act with some type of decorum that you know how to act, with the grown-ups, with the adults. And Liam just very much felt like a kid who got
being
a
childish.
big candy bar and he saw his older sibling get a small one. And
he said, nah. That's basically what he said.
So I don't know. I really want to. I'm gonna halfway root for Liam this year, but
I just hope Liam grows up.
If you can ask him to be nicer to the other drivers. Because I don't actually care about them being
just nice. Grow up.
It's not about being nice. It's just about...
You don't need to be mean to Yuki.
It's literally...
I think for
workplace
respect. You can be mean to anybody else you want, not Yuki.
But it's also just having respect for your coworkers. What the heck? You can hate your coworkers. You can flip them off behind their back, but... While you're in a workplace setting, which is technically in the car for him, be respectful. Go about your business. Do your job.
No, but I'm you already got the seat.
Exactly.
Why are you continuing this?
Did he have the seat at that time?
I think so, honestly.
So
I think by the time that they replaced Daniel with him, it was a done deal, in my opinion.
Heard. Okay. Well,
yeah, that's what I feel.
Yeah, then you already have the seat. What is all that for?
Because I also feel... Because that's what I was a little bit confused about, was when did Christian... Because they asked Christian straight, point blank, do you know who's going to take... Or do you know who's going to be in that seat alongside Max. And they were, and basically it was like, is it going to be Checo again? Is it going to be Daniel? Is it going to be Liam? Is it possibly going to be Yuki? Those were like the four main people that were in the running, I guess you could say. And Christian was like, yeah, I do. And they were like, well, can you tell us? He said, no. So they had made a decision, and I just wondered, like, what point of the season that was. Because then they also bring back Liam and say, oh, they tell him he got the seat. They tell him that he has the seat and for next year, for 2025. That wasn't announced until after the season. So I'm also, like, wondering, I just want to know, like, the time frame on that.
Yeah.
Because it does seem like maybe that bled over into some of the races, and maybe Liam did know quite well in advance.
And that emboldened him a little bit.
Taking over for Checo's seat. That he may be taking over Checo's seat.
Also, another thing, Christian also said, I could put anyone in that seat next to Max, and I thought that was just a little too cocky, especially considering the fact that their car was trash this year. I'm just saying.
He was doing one.
You know what I mean? He's just like, I could put anyone in that seat. I was like,
questionable.
Max can drive your car very well. That doesn't mean anybody
Let's not even act like Max wasn't struggling himself this year.
Oh, he was struggling, but he still did what he did.
Like, my man, like, barely pulled that shit out.
Yeah.
Y'all didn't give him shit.
Right. And then y'all were like, oh, anybody can be in that car. And it's like, actually, no.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
Last thing I want to say about this episode before we move on is we brought up this quote last time when we thought we would be doing all the episodes in one sitting, which is Christian's iconic quote, I don't know about our Mexican. F1, like, people have this weird preoccupation with nationality specifically, like nationality, in a way that I think is so crazy and interesting, where, like, the amount, like, I get, like, I think they even do this to the white people, where I'm like, I get that Max is Dutch.
Yes.
I know. We're aware, okay? We all know. Do we need to call him the Dutchman every time you refer to him?
Once a race, they call him the Dutchman.
Every other sentence. And I'm
Minimum.
like, we heard you last time. We get it. He's from the Netherlands.
The Flying Dutchman.
Like, we get it. He's from the Netherlands. Like, they do it to all of them, where I'm like,
oh, yeah.
I know where they're from. How many times do you need to say that they're from England?
Wherever.
Or Germany?
Japan.
We know. It's established. Well established.
The Aussie.
Do you know who gets it a lot, though, that I actually think is, like, Valtteri used to get a lot. I don't know why.
He would never let off his neck. You're Finnish.
You're Finnish. Oh, you look like a Finnish porn star. Oh, Finnish. Oh, this Finnish driver. Oh, the Finnish mullet. The Finnish mullet. Oh, I'm like,
guys.
Stop.
Can you relax?
I really did not know what nationality Valtteri was. But at the last couple of seasons, they have been pushing that he is Finnish.
Their nationality is among the first things that I learned about every driver.
Yeah. They're so
most
I said among.
Most of them, I actually think Valtteri was one I just kind of ignored until they just threw it in my face over and over again.
That's so rude.
Not ignored
like that.
No,
I know what you mean.
Just it wasn't something that
held importance to you.
Sure.
I get it.
Next
episode, which is episode. Oh, yes, sorry.
I also like that Will Buxton said that about Liam. The stand-in took out 2 veterans.
That was great. I
did enjoy that.
That was great.
Also, Cocky Yuki. Results say everything. I don't have to say anything.
Okay. I
loved it. I loved it.
I didn't.
He went
talk your shit.
These bitches.
I didn't love it because he didn't win.
I know.
Look, we're all upset that he didn't get the seat, but Yuki, I think, said exactly
win
what
that
he was
race.
say. Oh, well,
no. The question to Yuki was, are you afraid of Liam like coming and like taking over or like taking the Red Bull seat from you? And Yuki literally went, the results say everything. I don't have to say anything.
Yeah. But whether or not they give me the seat over any of these guys that I've driven alongside, they've never driven alongside me and beat me over the course of the period they've driven alongside me. Yuki beat Daniel all the times that he drove against him.
He beat Liam.
He beat Liam all the times he drove against him. There's a great t-shirt that I actually really, really wanted that has Yuki's points stacked up, and it stacks up all the rest of the people he's had drive against him after Pierre, and it just doesn't match up all together, and it's like, bro, don't compete where you can't compare.
Okay.
Anyway, on to episode 9, which is called Under New Management, and is normally one of my favorite episodes of the season. What I like to call that midfield team episode, where they stop talking about the championship, and then and people that are really relevant to the central plot, and start talking about a midfield team like Alpine, Haas, Renault, whatever. I thought this episode was good. I thought it was okay. I didn't have a lot of feelings about it. I thought that it was narratively and pacing good. Honestly, I didn't pay attention to Haas this season at all. So I was learning new things. I was like, wow, they're in the fight with Alpine for 6th place. And then when they got crashed out, I was like, no, I felt all the emotions.
Yeah.
I just didn't have a lot for this one. It was
Same.
cool.
I would say
I did appreciate Io though. I thought that he had a couple funny, good quips. I thought that when they asked him how do you feel about replacing Gunther? Da 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 da. And he was like, no, me and Gunther had such a great relationship. Da 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 da. All this stuff, and then he was like, but I don't plan on not having any money and losing all the time. So I don't really feel the need to replicate him. I was like,
he literally said, I'm not interested in turning up race weekend and being last.
Yes. I was like, drag your friend.
Yikes.
Because sometimes your friends need to be dragged.
Also, then he said, last few seasons, rock bottom. I said, Io.
Drag him.
Also, I enjoyed the return of Gunther, though.
I thought he was very funny.
I enjoyed the return of Gunther.
I think he was funny for one. I think that Gunther is funny when he is not being vitriolic to his underlings.
Yes.
And therefore, I find him way funnier when he's not interacting with drivers.
Absolutely.
I just don't have a soft spot for Gunther like a lot of people do.
I mean, that's understandable. He's a horrible boss.
He's, he was a terrible boss. I just find him funny.
Yeah, and I get it. I would say out of these second batches, this is kind of like Curse of the Leclerc or whatever it was.
Yeah.
In the first half. I paid attention and watched 1.5 speed. Because I kind of was paying attention to the race between Haas and Alpine during the season. Not that much, but I also was just I kind of don't care. Haas, neither one of these drivers is going to be here for Haas next year.
Oh, true.
Pierre's the only one staying at Alpine. So I just kind of didn't really care because who knows where they're going to be. I don't know. It didn't do it for me. I think some of the other ones.
Yeah. Oh, great. And we can move on to our last and final episode. My favorite episode of the season.
Of course.
Now, I do want to say, I hate to do this to one of my fellow hosts, but I would like to call out her extreme bias in this moment, because do you want to know what Bex has in her notes for this episode, Felicia?
I need to stop putting my trust under the chair.
More cars, more drivers. Bitch! That's fucking insane to put in the notes for this goddamn episode.
Girl.
You were wrong for that.
Girl.
Well, you were wrong as fuck for that. For putting more cars, more drivers. Bitch!
Bex.
What's wrong with that? I'm confused.
Anyway, I'm not even talking to her anymore.
You're being an asshole.
No, hold on. No. Why is that such offensive? Why is that such an offensive note to have?
We saw a generational drive in the last episode of Drive to Survive, and your ass put more cars, more drivers.
I don't remember that. I don't remember that.
The P1?
Yeah. Sure.
I will say Max was on absolute demon time. That's literally my notes.
I forgot.
Demon time.
I forgot. I loved that race. I remember being so invested during it. I think I was actually at brunch with maybe Marty and his mom or whatever, and I had been watching in the car, and I was like, oh my god, Max is up to T7, but we have brunch with your mom, and he's like, leave the phone out on the table. That's fine. died. So yes, I died. But like, I forgot the demon time he was on. Him on turn 1, going inside the side of so many different cars. And I was just like, oh my god.
He said, zoop, zoop, zoop. I said, oh.
Oh. When they showed him on Oscar, and it was like, he's behind him. He's behind him. And I'm thinking like, oh, Oscar's gonna fight. Oscar's gonna fight.
Oscar said, go for it.
Jesus.
Have it, bro.
I was like, oh my god. You were just doing it. I do wish that they had showed how treacherous it was, more than just showing us that their cameras were covered with water. They could have showed the crashes and stuff, but besides the point. What I thought was really interesting was, I think that for once, I would say that Lando had great instinct in the fact that he kept going, like, I think Max is going to be a problem. I need updates on Max. And I think the McLaren pit wall really fucked him by being like, you don't need to worry about Max. Don't worry about Max. Focus on your own race.
Lando could feel Max coming for him. I'm like, he could feel it.
I was like, Lando, for once, had fantastic race instinct. And you tried to beat it out of him the entire race of being like, you don't need to worry about Max. Stop asking about Max. Focus on your own race. And I'm like, when you feel like you don't have to worry and you can focus on your own race, that's when you make decisions like pitting when that bitch is on demon time fucking behind you.
That was yeah.
Like, if you were fully aware that he's been doing that much the entire race, like he's going
the wall screwed him with that one.
He is setting fastest lap after fastest lap for 20 laps straight.
Yep.
You do not fucking pit.
Yep. Mind you, let's remember, in the press conference, he literally said, I'm a 3-time world champion. I think I know what I'm doing.
Oh, glorious clip.
He was pissed off in the press conference. You know what happens when Max Verstappen gets pissed off. Yeah. Why would you not act accordingly?
And I'm just like, guys. And the thing is, I think that once again, this is what they're talking about when they're like, sometimes you just have it and sometimes you don't. When it comes to these wet races, where it's like, at the end of the day, the only thing that could have saved Lando is more confidence and skill in this kind of condition. Which is not necessarily his fault for not having. You can't manufacture this kind of condition so you can practice over and over again. You know? Like, that's not his fault that he didn't have, like, the confidence and skill needed. But this is what they're talking about when they said, like, you just have it or you don't. Like, sometimes this is when being a world champion who knows how to drive in these kind of conditions really comes to get you. Because Max was like, I don't need to fucking pit. Like, it's absolutely treacherous. Might crash the car, but I'm pretty sure.
You're gonna keep going.
I'm pretty sure I won't, so I'm gonna keep on keeping on.
That was crazy. Meanwhile, you had Ollie on the same track, just being like, I'm gonna die. That's it, poor baby. That poor child. He literally said, I'm trying not to die.
I felt so bad.
You could tell he was scared. You could tell he was scared. I said, oh God.
They had him. I will say another thing is that, so I try not to go on the Formula One subreddit because I find most of the people there absolutely insufferable. However, so many of them complain about like they feel like they edited in Lando asking about Max a bunch of times, and I'm like, I'm so sorry that you guys don't know the kind of person that your driver is. Lando is an anxious queen. Lando is an anxious Gen Z.
Yes.
I assure you, Lando asked about Max more times than they showed up.
That is why he always loses first place. He gets nervous.
Like, I would 1,000% be going like, where's he? Where's he? Where's he? Like, say it.
Listen, because he knows Max is, like I said, the press conference, he knows Max is pissed.
There's also another note I was really surprised to not see in your notes, Bex, and I'm actually really gagged that you didn't bring it up.
Which one?
Every dream has needs a team. You ain't bring up Toto's letter at the end.
I did think that was worthy of a note because I was definitely going to remember that, and I was definitely going to bring it up because I personally felt that stupid recording that he did, I was just like,
it was dumb.
Really?
And then the way he ended it, does it make you cry? And then the PA just goes, no.
No. I love that PA. Also, I didn't realize that they were carrying their Every Dream Needs a Team into this season. I know we talked about it a little bit, but like, I do think that that's the right decision, right? I actually don't think that you leave it to be a weird, corny last season thing, you know?
I think you do that because it was such a failure.
Yeah, but it's a failure that they made it sound like it was targeted at Lewis. So I actually do think they made the right decision by, like, trying to make it apply to the entire grid, you know? Like, I think they made the right decision to be like, Drive to Survive, can you use my monologue for the end montage so it doesn't look like I was directly shading Lewis? Like...
That dumbass.
I mean, I will say, though, it like I liked
the end montage.
It looked well. It served for theatrical purposes.
It was great for the end montage to the extent that actually, until Toto said Every Dream Needs a Team, I thought he was just giving another one of his end of season Drive to Survive like monologues that he does. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, Toto enjoyed this monologue. And then they showed him looking at a piece of paper and going, Every Dream Needs a Team. And I paused and I went, that's what this fucking monologue was. It was that fuck ass letter.
Voice note.
No, like, yeah, Toto was just, you know, you can only expect so much from them. But I thought the ending monologue and the way they did, like, each driver. Well, quick side note, as we were talking, I have noticed, like, obviously, we didn't focus on, like, we focused on most of the teams, but not all the teams. Like, obviously, we didn't get anything from Kick, Saber, Fly. We did, who else? But we also, there was one team we heard zilch from.
Who?
Aston Martin.
That's true.
Oh my god.
Almost as if they didn't exist.
Well, Colapinto didn't exist either. Neither did Logan Sargent.
Yo! Colapinto, Logan, and there was one other rookie that went in. Who was it?
Well, Jack Doohan only existed at the end when they were like,
I don't care about him. But who was the other one?
I was just surprised because even like we still heard, we still like got like little clips from, like Valtteri. Like we still saw Valtteri in there.
I don't think we saw Lance.
We didn't see Lance at all.
Did we see Fernando? I think we saw Fernando like once or twice.
Direct to camera? I don't think we saw Alonso.
But he had like one confessional or two.
Oh, okay. Maybe it is.
Somebody said that Jerry, Christian's wife, got more screen time than Yuki, Bottas, Zhou, Hulk, and K-Mag.
Yeah.
Yep. Sure did.
Sure did.
Jerry was in there.
Of course. Gotta be there to stand by her man.
Anyway. But I think overall, this was a good season. I really appreciate the direction because like we hated 5 and 6. We couldn't even review it. 3 and 4 was like pulling teeth. I would love to see Drive to Survive continue this direction, especially episode 7, which is the Singapore race. If we can even just get like a couple of those a season. I think that'd be great. And I'm not gonna lie, you kind of like obviously you never know what's gonna happen in a race, so you're never gonna know like, okay, this is the race we should focus on. But like, there's always sort of like these historical races that are always crazy. I wouldn't mind a focus, even if it's like, oh, you do like old heads versus new, the rookie.
Not old heads.
Oh my gosh, if we could get like the Australian GP, all the rookies with the camera. Their first race.
I would love that.
Coming on HQ right now, let's take those boys a phone.
Like, I think that would be great.
I would love that.
I think that would be great, just to letting them see, like, what is it like for a first time, especially, like, when you think about Gabrielle Bortoleto. I'm not sure if I said that right.
Bortoleto.
Hajar. And I think, are those the only two, like, fresh?
Isaac.
Oh, Kimmy. Because he's not actually had a race. I think those are the only 3 that haven't. Because Ollie, Jack, and Liam have
Franco.
races. Yeah. So if we could especially get
I guess Franco's a reserve driver, huh? Oops.
Yeah, he's a reserve. Yeah. Well, one of the 4. But yeah, I think if we can get something like that, that would be great. And I just think there's ways to bring in your F1 drivers while not like, deterring your Drive to Survive fans from watching. So that'd be my only thing. But I think it was a great season overall. I would give this, out of all of the seasons, I'm gonna give this a 9 out of 10.
I agree. I think that for me, season 3 is a 10 out of 10. And this is a 9 out of 10 because season 3 had no skips. I didn't skip a single episode of season 3.
Yeah, I
had no skips.
3.
This
I think 4 was one I struggled with more.
Of course you would. Yes.
Which one did you struggle with? I'm sorry, say that again.
The 2021 season.
I didn't watch it.
Yeah, that was rough.
But
that was rough.
I liked this season a lot. I thought it was great. Keep it up. They're being new. They're being innovative. They were messy bitches living for the drama.
Absolutely.
And I think that this season they did a good job of I think outside of that one thing that they did with Max, where they pretended like he was really upset after Lando won Miami.
They were wrong for that.
I thought they did a really good job of just we are going to edit and over dramatize because this is literally a drama document, right? Mm-hmm. But we don't need to necessarily give fodder to our haters by literally making up storylines. We can focus on existing tensions that are already there because these
it's
bitches
more interesting.
These bitches have plenty of mess and plenty of drama.
Exactly.
Come on. So, I thought that was fun and that was good. And I loved
Absolutely.
So, before we leave, can I ask a question? Or
yes.
After, do you want to do it?
I can do it. So
okay, I'll let you take the lead.
Our 2025 season is coming up. In fact, viewers, as we are filming this, is the Friday before the first race.
Yeah.
So, whoop, whoop, whoop. Ladies, what are your 2025 predictions?
Okay, and let's just preface some things. Prediction as in what I want to happen, or prediction what I think is going to happen.
We have to go with think. Because I think that, we obviously all want a lot of things to happen.
Yes.
I think we all want the same thing to happen, actually.
Go ahead and say it.
We all want Lewis 8th Ferrari world champion. Knock on wood. Right?
Okay.
We all want that. Right? We all want that to happen. Okay? Mm-hmm. So, I think that that's a waste of time for us to talk about. We all know that's what we want. Okay?
Damn.
Let's focus on what we think. Think with a K. Every kiss.
Okay. So I want to start off with constructors. I think it's going to go back to McLaren.
McLaren's taking that constructors. We already know that. That's a given.
Yeah.
That's a given. And I'm going to throw out a crazy prediction. I don't mean crazy, actually. I'm just going to I'm going to throw down my line in the sand.
Mm-hmm.
Oscar Piastri first drivers' championship.
Oh.
I'm planting my flag. Oscar Piastri.
I would definitely be happy if that happened, but okay. I would be very happy with that, actually. I would be very happy with that, actually.
I'm going to say, that's my prediction. Oscar, drivers' champion. I think that I think in my rank order, I think it's Oscar driver champion. Mm-hmm. I will be putting Lewis driver champion second because I have to hold out hope. And Lando driver champion third. Those are my predictions for who will win.
You don't think there's a chance for your man?
Oh, girl, that car's bad. There's no chance for my man.
Girl,
I was lucky if my man
everybody's saying
championship.
Stop.
I'll be so grateful. I will literally sit down and do 10 Hail Marys and 5 Our Fathers if he gets the top 5 of the championship.
Do you know what's really trash, though? You're saying that, and Max has finally actually kind of grown on me.
I'm so sorry. I think my man's making top 5, maybe.
That's so sad.
Helmet saying that McLaren's a second faster a lap than Red Bull.
Helmet can go play in traffic.
That is true, but
so I want to say something, and I don't know if it's controversial. Slightly, because
it's her.
This person wins. It's not controversial like you think. Sorry, no, it's not going down the road. Wrong road. Reverse. I think I'm going to say Charles Leclerc.
Wait, what road did you think she was going down?
first drive.
Wait, what? Oh, okay. Wait,
So
this kind of goes
and
into...
the reason I was saying, the reason I was going down the road, like it might be controversial, because I feel like if Charles can win in that car, then technically Lewis can win. Should be able to be
in that car,
driving and winning. I don't know. I just, as much as I love Lewis and I want him to get his 8th, there's a little bit that has a little bit of doubt on. I think they're all singing Kumbaya right now in Ferrari. I don't think it's going to be Kumbaya.
Okay, that was going to be part of my prediction. My prediction had to do specifically with Ferrari, and it's that Ferrari is either going to, 1, be on absolute demon time and go crazy this season, or 2, there's going to be absolute havoc in that garage. I'm just saying.
What are you shocked
Either
about?
they're going to get along and like work really well together, or it's going to be full-blown crash out. We might see Snapchat Lewis again. Afsa, are you okay?
I just saw the Red Bull shirts that Liam and Max showed up into Australia.
Oh, hell. What is that?
Let me see.
No, hold on.
Sorry, they're not as ugly as my face probably said, but
I thought something
ugly.
bad had happened.
They're ugly as hell.
I can't see them.
It just says Red Bull.
It looks the same.
I'll send it to you. I mean, I think the shirt's ugly, but I'll send it to you. It's the same, but they put a weird Red Bull stripe across the center, which made it uglier.
Girl, it's not that bad. It's ugly, but it's not that bad.
I think it's really ugly.
Max literally looks the same.
I think that we're going to have a lot to talk about for Project Runway and what not to wear. Because all I'm saying is, it's almost quali. And I'm not seeing anything.
Shit. Not a damn
I'm not
thing.
Seeing a damn
outside of the expected, not a damn thing.
About what?
See, their outfits.
Project Runway.
I've seen one.
We know where that's from. Oh wait. No, I don't like that one.
Okay, y'all.
We'll talk about it on Sunday. But I want to bring up baddies. Important. Last I checked, which was 3 days ago, so this could change. Could have changed. The streets are saying 80% chance of rain on Sunday.
80?
8-0.
Mm-hmm.
Wait.
6 rookies.
Oh, that's another prediction I have. Hold on. That's another prediction. The rookies are going to fuck shit up this season. And by fuck shit up, I mean absolutely have
Let me ask y'all a question. Out. Who do you think will be the highest performing rookie?
Oh,
like Drivers' Champion.
You think it's going to be Kimmy?
I don't.
Statistically,
okay, Bex.
I'm confused. Are there other rookies in the top teams?
I personally think Liam will do better than Kimmy.
We already have.
Oh, I forgot that Liam is technically a rookie. I completely
sorry. I've been kind of because that's how F1 has been advertising them as a 6 rookie. So I've been including them. But I think
I forgot about him completely.
Technically, he still counts as a rookie.
Yeah, I forgot about him completely.
Yeah,
I mean he is forgettable. It's okay.
I think Liam will be slightly better because I truly don't think.
Can I throw out a crazy prediction?
Oh God!
I don't think it's gonna happen, but I'm gonna throw out a crazy prediction.
Okay, what?
Girl, I don't think Liam's lasted the whole season in that seat.
Oh,
girl, let me tell you, because I have to say, I was just like, Liam is doing a lot because like when we talk about him like being very calm, I was like he's doing a lot, and he's not necessarily guaranteed to be there. I don't even know who Red Bull's reserve driver is though. Oh, it's Yuki.
It's Yuki.
Oh God.
So maybe it's wishful thinking on my part.
But no, because I also feel like Red Bull does not want to repeat of last year, especially if Max is able to be putting up points in that crap car, and Liam's giving us goose egg. I don't think Christian's rope is going to be as long as it was for Checo last year. So
no. Liam ain't got that Disney money.
But also,
saw all those
Liam
sponsorships they lost,
gone. That's more than half of their sponsorships. What was it? They kept like 6. They lost like 10. Yeah, 11.
I didn't think they kept. They lost 11, got 6 new sponsors.
Oh, those are new sponsors.
Damn. I believe so.
Damn. That's sad.
But yeah, so I don't know. I think so. I mean, well, Felicia, who would you think is the best rookie that will be? Who do you think will be the best performing rookie? Quickly now.
No, I do agree with Kimmy just because I don't think if Red Bull's car is as bad as it sounds, Liam's not going to be able to drive that thing.
Okay.
Because what the other ones are what? Bortoletto, Hajar. What team is Hajar on? Stake?
RB.
Oh, RB. Bortoletto's on Stake.
Yeah,
he's not doing nothing.
Ollie Haas. Do you know what? Ollie could be a dark horse.
Ollie might truck that Haas.
Boy's a speedy boy.
He might make it like, one of the top mid-grid teams. Midfield, sorry.
Not mid-grid.
Mid-grid. I mean, technically it's the middle of the grid. I don't know. But he might punch that Haas into somewhere. Just saying. So long as it doesn't rain and he doesn't think he's going to die.
Yeah. Any surprise returns y'all are expecting or predict?
I'm going to say something that is both controversial, factually wrong.
Oh my god. If y'all don't stop with all these controversial fucking opinions.
I'm going to say something that's controversial and I also think just straight up wrong.
Okay, go ahead.
I think...
Oh, dear God.
That... How do I phrase this? There's a chance that as a parlay with my Liam getting kicked out theory.
Oh, no. God.
Y'all already know.
Girl.
They gonna bring that motherfucker back.
Why?
They gonna bring him back from the grave and plop his ass in that seat. Daniel Ricciardo.
Not the grave. Not from the grave.
I'm parlaying. I'm putting a parlay out. Leave him out. Daniel is my parlay. That's the parlay I'm playing.
I hear that, but I'm going back to I think Daniel is done racing.
That is between you and your illusion.
That's between you and your feelings. You know what's something Daniel's never done?
Daniel should be done racing. Let's start there.
Daniel is never done having a check signed for him. That's what I'll say about Daniel. Daniel loves a check. Daniel loves a check.
He doesn't.
For some reason, what's his face loves Daniel Ricciardo.
What's his face? Yeah.
Y'all know who I'm talking about. I just can't remember his name right now. Horner.
Christian.
He has a soft spot.
He has a very soft spot
for him, and I don't seem to understand it. But I think he has a soft spot that if it comes down to like, hey, we just need someone to drive alongside Max and get us some points. Mm-hmm. Which actually, do you know what? I take it back. It's not going to happen because Daniel wasn't even getting points when last time he was on the grid. Daniel was not doing what he was supposed to be doing. I don't seem to understand how someone who is as
here she go.
I'm trying to figure out the words I'm trying to say. I just don't understand someone who is as cutthroat and as competitive as Christian Horner could stand to have that guy back on your grid, on your team, when he's just going to lose. He's not going to do anything for you. Might as well keep Liam Lawson in at that point. Y'all, they're going to be scoring in the same position. What's the point?
It's a good point.
So,
but
I don't know. I'm just excited.
All about this and many more in our Sunday recap of the race.
Yes.
I'm so excited that it's back. Are y'all watching qualifying tonight?
Yes.
Well, live and qualifying tonight. That's what I meant to say.
I'm watching qualifying tonight.
I have plans tonight, but I will watch qualifying in the morning.
It's midnight. You can do that.
I'm not going to be here at midnight.
Oh, okay.
Let me tell you, last time I went out with my friends, I came home at 3 a.m. I'm not going to be watching qualifying. Sorry.
We'll be texting you about qualifying.
Yes, I will.
Yeah. I will probably be checking. Will I be answering? No, because I will probably not be able to. Love you.
When we tell you all the rookies crashed out in Q1, you're going to wish you were watching.
Yeah.
I will watch in the morning.
But it's not going to be like when you're watching it live.
I don't get a kick out of watching things live.
I've actually tried to start watching the races live because getting the races not necessarily spoiled, but oh, something crazy happens turn one. Oh, so and so doesn't make it. Kind of ruins it for you a little bit.
I do everything possible to watch live.
Yeah,
I don't get the same kick out of watching things live. It doesn't do it. I'm gonna watch it anyway.
That's because you don't know real sport.
Oh, shut up.
All right.
I was like, the sisters are arguing. We're done.
We're cutting it. All right. Well, we will talk Australia in a couple of days. Listeners, I'm probably going to try and get this episode up tomorrow. So you'll hear it before the race episode.
We're going down under.
We're going down under.
To the Louis Vuitton Australian Grand Prix.
Adelaide.
Yes. So, looking forward to it. Hopefully it's a rainy race. Fingers crossed. And listeners, we'll see you on Sunday.
Bye, ladies.
Bye, listeners. Bye-bye.